Good morning and welcome to the first client drop-in of June 2024. And the purpose of the very first client drop-in session of each month is that we run through quite an important piece, and that's the Leadeth KPI and ROI. So that's the key performance indicators, and the ROI is your return on investment, to make sure you're getting a decent return on your investment with Leadeth. So the way this works is there's a Google spreadsheet that you can freely access. It looks a little bit like this. And within this kind of Google spreadsheet, we can do some quite amazing things. And I'm going to run through what the sheet's all about now. And hopefully you can watch along with this session as well. So what I'll do is I'll go to share. Anyone with the link can currently access this file. These are my own stats that I'm putting in on the file, but I can go to copy the link and paste this in the chat. I'll also paste it in the school community so you've got access to this file. Everything you need is in the spreadsheet, and it links out to several other websites where we pull the data from. Okay. So it starts at the top. Look at the red boxes, and we're completing these red boxes. So what is your hourly rate? You know, if you're charging £250 an hour, that's your time. You know, how much do you value your time? Because that's important for us to understand, you know, how much of a saving we're making down the line. What is your kind of Leadeth subscription costing you? I know there's a lot of people on our basic plan, £125 plus VAT. If that's all you're spending on LinkedIn lead gen automation, then put that figure in there. If you're on our growth plan, or if maybe you're on our scale plan at $295, and you've also got the Sales Navigator. Sales Navigator is a £80 a month subscription. For me, I don't put the VAT figures in, so $295 plus 66 if I had Sales Navigator. So put in the cost of what your kind of Leadeth subscription is costing you. So typically I've put in that kind of amount there, but you can change it. What's the average client spend with you? You know, so if I get a client and they sign up to a scale plan, that's basically $295 per month for 12 months. The beauty of that is, you know, that generates £3,500 per client. So LinkedIn, any client that I convert from LinkedIn lead generation is worth quite a bit of money to me. So for you, you know, average it out. It's fine as an average. We just need some sort of figure there just to get an idea of, you know, if you were to get a client from the LinkedIn strategy, how much is that client going to be worth for you? And then below that, in the kind of the smaller boxes here, we've got the time in seconds that it takes you to perform a lot of these actions. So I've kind of averaged it out. These are my averages. So on average, it takes me 30 seconds to send a connection message, personalize it to someone. So that's 30 seconds of my time. But obviously with Leadeth, we've got software that automates that whole process. Now, LinkedIn messages being sent, again, another manual process, following up with those messages. It could realistically probably take you about a minute to send a follow-up message back to these people. But obviously with the built-in automation tools within Leadeth, we're able to automate that whole process. And that's where we're making huge time savings. Viewing other people's profiles, you know, not such a laborious task. That one, 10 seconds, quickly scan someone's profile. You might take, you know, 60 seconds to scan a profile. So put in 60 seconds if that's you. Following profiles, not a huge following profile strategy myself. I don't really have it as what I do. I don't tend to follow others. It's all about, you know, outreach, connecting with others, and yeah, I just haven't got time to digest other people's content because I'm very time poor. But what I look at here is email sent. So if I was sending any emails, so InMail is part of Sales Navigator. If you're pushing out those emails, that would, you know, how long would it take you to compose that email to the person? You know, if you're adding videos on and other things, you know, that is a manual task that does take time. Leadeth can automate all of that as well. So email sent. So if you've got an email strategy, an outbound, nice follow-up email strategy where you're sending, you know, 30, 40 emails a day or a month, whatever it is you're doing, just record how long it would take you to compose those emails. And finally, the last one is a new addition. You know, so if you are inviting people en masse to a LinkedIn event, I'm going to put 5 seconds in there because the process is quite technical. You do have to create the LinkedIn event. That happens with or without automation, but the inviting of people, you can only invite first-degree prospects, and you have to be very choosy, almost typing their name, first name, last name, and then clicking the invite button, and then that invite goes out. So that could easily take you 5 seconds. Now, you can click in bulk a little bit quicker, and what that allows you to do is, invite multiple people at a time. So the next thing that we're going to look at now is where we actually get our stats from. And the first thing here is, as you can see, the SSI score. So this is the social selling index, and it's a score that LinkedIn measures. So we're looking at the stats for May. May is the last full month, calendar month that we've currently just done. So we want to know what's the current trending SSI score. So what is my SSI score? So I can now go into this link. This comes up with the SSI score. So I'm currently trending at 66 out of 100. And the SSI score is made up of 4 key component areas. All these different areas contribute to having a really complete LinkedIn profile, constantly finding the right sorts of people you want to connect with, also engaging with insights and building relationships is obviously happening on autopilot. So you should be scoring 25 for that metric. Depending on what industry you've set yourself in. So I've put myself under sales professionals in the marketing services industry. The average SSI score is 31, and I can see that I'm in the top 1%, which is great. And also we can see the people in your network have an average SSI score of 45. So that's all the people in your network. And I'm ranking currently in the top 8% of that. I used to rank in the top 1%, but I think what's happening is I'm giving out so much knowledge, and people are just using that knowledge, improving their profiles, doing a lot more on the LinkedIn platform. So their profiles are going up, 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 up. So I'm slowly coming down, down, down. So I need to keep on top of the game and, get these things complete as well. Get that profile, refresh the profile regularly, come back to it every 6 months. So the key thing here is the 66 score. So that's what we're interested in. It's a bit of a benchmark indicator, helps us to understand how healthy an account is, and just how active you are on the LinkedIn platform. So we basically grab that 66 score, pop it in there. I mean, last month I dropped a little bit. I was 65. I used to be in the high 80s, but LinkedIn's algorithm changes every so often, so it can really affect the scores. So I'm not too fussed. I guess if this was dropping below it, below 60, then I'd start to panic and think, right, I need a content strategy to bolster this score up. LinkedIn impressions is the next metric that we're going to look at. The LinkedIn impressions is all about, how many people have actually viewed your content in the last, whatever it is, 28 days here. You can drill this down and look at other different time periods. I'll just show you. So we're seeing here, past 28, how much impressions have you have? So I've had 5,000 impressions. So we can flick back to our KPI sheet and just type in 5,000 there. So in terms of impressions, my impressions is really low, and I know why, because I've kind of neglected this content strategy with what I'm doing. So I've upped in terms of email marketing and outreach. That, as you see the stats in a moment, you'll see how that's gone up. But in terms of a content strategy, I'm not really putting too much content out at the moment on the LinkedIn platform. And it's a note to self, I probably need to be putting a lot more out there. Engagement is people that have interacted with your content. So we can click the little link button above that engagement tab. That takes us to the engagements, and we can see 84 engagements. Again, pretty low for the duration of May. The biggest thing here was when we ran the 4-day challenge to explosive growth. We ran that as an exciting lead magnet, as an alternative to our weekly lead generation masterclass. That's worked really well. We had I think 5 regulars on for that one, which is really good. And we also gave away a Leadeth subscription to the lovely Tony. With that 84 figure that we see, 84 engagements past 28 days, we'll just go back to the Leadeth spreadsheet and just key that in. And I can see there's good that really contributed to a bit more growth on the metrics. If you want to find out how many followers you've got on LinkedIn, head over to this one. This will give you the number of followers. So I've got 11,914. This month, I'll probably peak at 12,000 followers, which is great. It's a kind of vanity metric for me, really. I'm not desperately after thousands and thousands of followers. But obviously, if you've got those followers, that's a captive audience that will turn into, clients, hopefully. And the more followers, the better. But even more so, connections, because most people that buy from you are going to be first degree connections. So that's a more important metric, I would say. And we go to my network, which is where we can find how many people are in our first degree network. We see here 11,548 people in my network. So 11,548. We'll flick back to the spreadsheet and type in 11,548. Now, what you'll notice is my connections are rising pretty steadily. If you look at the difference here from one to the other, it's kind of 100, 150. Yet we're sending out quite a lot of connections, and a lot of those connections are being accepted. We can see here. But what this is I'm actually I'm basically mindful that there's an upper limit to the number of connections you can have on LinkedIn. So I'm kind of halfway there. So I need to start to be a bit more choosy about who I'm connecting with. So better filtering, better focus really helps here. Also, I'm unfriending or, disconnecting from people that I think, they're just not relevant anymore to me. They've not interacted. There's been no engagement with them. Let's get rid of them. So you have to be quite brutal. So this is done kind of on a daily basis as people either opt out from stuff that I'm doing, or I just find, there's not a good fit here. Let's just block them, get rid of them. So yeah, harsh as it may seem, but I need to make sure my network is really clean and tidy, and I want the right people in that network. If there's no chance of this person ever doing business with you, they can be a follower, but not a connection. Sorry if that offends a few people. Now we come on to the Leadeth stats. So the Leadeth stats are found under reports. You can click the tab on the spreadsheet here above the column. This will take you to your Leadeth stats. You can go to custom period, key in a specific custom period. So we want to look at the month of May, May the 1st to the 31st of May. It was a long month, but we did have a couple of bank holidays in there as well. So we can see the number of connection requests that have gone out in that monthly period. You can see I had connection requests obviously turned off here for a short period. Let's just switch accounts, make sure I'm in the right account. The stats look very different this month. There we go. So that's the last month. So if I go to custom period and go back from 1st of May through to the 31st of May, apply those filters. If this is giving you odd data, then just refresh it again and it should work correctly. You can export all this data out to a CSV file if you wish to. But what we're looking at here is the connection requests. So this is the grand number. LinkedIn normally let you push out between 400, that's 100 a week, to around about 800. I've peaked quite a lot at 800. Obviously, I didn't run it for a week because that's when I prioritized one of my first degree campaigns. So that's why you can see a drop there. If you're seeing regular drops here, it could be because Saturday and Sunday, you've set your Leadeth to not operate on a Saturday and Sunday. That's fair. If that's how you want it, that's okay. I tend to just leave mine churning at the weekend. People still connect at the weekend. I find it's great, and campaigns can still tick over. I can still invite people to events and things, and you'll see that in a moment. But what we're seeing, the top line here, 666. That's connection requests sent out to brand new second degree or third degree connections on LinkedIn. So we can head over back to the stats and put in there 660. Okay, yeah, we've dipped by a little bit. It's not causing me concern because I know I turned off connection requests for a week or so. So I know that I'm still operating within the safe limits of LinkedIn. I've not had any bans, no warnings for quite a few years now. So I'm happy to run at that same rate. In fact, I might just tweak it and just push it a little bit harder, and we can go into the daily accounts limits on Leadeth and just set that up. The next one is how many LinkedIn messages have you sent? So this is the kind of DM1, DM2, DM3, DM4, all the messages that are sent after that initial connection message. So let's have a look. LinkedIn messages sent. I've sent 882 messages. I'll just show you that there on the reports page in Leadeth, and you can see 882. So we can flick back to our KPI, and I can see, yeah, probably a bit down on previous months. Almost March was a cracker month. I must have had some real proactive campaigns. I was absolutely, smashing the messages out to people. So again, as a reminder to myself, I need to drive up some more campaigns. If this is a great exercise to do on a monthly basis, just to make you realize, sugar, I'm not actually pushing out what I'm capable of doing, and it's wasted opportunities if you're not doing the automation and pushing it out. And the tool's just sat there. So we want the tool we want you to maximize the use of the tool, get as many campaigns up and running as relevant to whatever you're doing, because that generates customers, it generates conversations. When you look at the stats, you'll see the difference in terms of good months and bad months. How many profile views have I done? So let's go back to the stats again. You can see profile views here. I've done 1,318 profile views. So again, lower than normal, but that's fine. I'm okay with that. Profile views is purely an engagement statistic. It's another light, soft touch point with prospects. So obviously, when you do a lot more of them, $2,000 a month, you're going to get more opportunities. Following profiles, as you can see, I've got very low numbers on follows. It's not a huge strategy that I've done. Some campaigns I'll turn it on, but most of the time I don't use that automation tool. It just mixes it up, but certainly we'll put 55 in there. In-mails I know is 0 because I'm not Sales Navigator, although I have got in-mail credits left on my account because I'm a premium user. I choose not to use the in-mails, but I could use them if I wanted to, and that's where you would see them here under in-mails sent. So the next stat on the spreadsheet is how many emails have you sent. So if you're not sending emails with Leadeth, you're missing out on a trick, because it's a really good engagement opportunity. Once you've connected with someone on LinkedIn, sending them a nice warm email to their inbox. I mean, it's great. It just helps with keeping your email account warm, and it starts to build conversations. It boosts the relationship process, the relationship building process. So email stats are much further down here. So if you go down to email and outreach engagement, this is where you'll see all the emails you've pushed out. So I can see I've pushed out around about 573. Ideally, I'd love to be pushing out around about 2,500, 3,000 emails. So I need to be doing a lot more here. But I'll take that figure, 573, and input it into my database. 573, and that's generating meetings, generating appointments. Obviously, you've got call to action links in those emails. How many LinkedIn event invites I sent out? So as you know, I run a weekly LinkedIn Live. I call it the Lead Generation Masterclass. Clients are welcome to attend those sessions as well. They're on Tuesday morning at 11 o'clock GMT, London, British time. And let's flick over to the sales engagement platform. You can see where those invites are picked up down here. So LinkedIn engagement, it comes under, and it's called accepted invites. And I can see that I've pushed out. I've got a few trickling out now. I kind of pushed out quite a severe number there. Obviously, that was maybe to promote the 4-day challenge. But yeah, 513. So we can now switch back to Leadeth stats and just key that in 514. How many people accepted my invitations? So these are people that have accepted my connection requests. Scroll right the way down to the here, engagement. So accepted invites. Oh, I've told you the wrong stat. So my accepted invites is 513. My LinkedIn event invites is 1174. So sorry, I put the wrong stat in there, so I'll just go and correct that. So that's 514, and that's whatever I just said, which I pasted into the clipboard, 1176. So yeah, a lot of invites going out, and we're seeing a good level of acceptance in terms of those acceptance rates and things. How many people have replied to my campaign? So we've got a metric here, and the metric is basically divided by. So if we've got if we've got a value in here, it's P6, which is we're in row 6, so it's basically the number of replied profiles divided by the total number of connection requests that you've sent. So that gives us what we call the reply rate. Okay, and for me, just have a look at my reply rate. So reply profiles, I got 58 reply profiles. We've also got a new metric here, which is incoming messages. And obviously, if you've got a content strategy, that's a metric that you probably ought to start to measure as well. But yeah, reply profiles, I've got 58. So we can put in there 58. And we can see that's 9% reply rate. So an increase on the reply rate from the previous time. You might want to include that metric. In fact, I might add it in after this video. So if there's a new column here, that's what that will all be about, is be the number of incoming messages. So these are non-campaign specific, just messages that are coming back to you naturally through conversations with people and stuff. So if that's an important metric for you to measure, you can put it in there. I tend to have never put it in for but I'm thinking, if you've got a content strategy, that's going to be a real good metric as a measurement for your content strategy KPI. How many total qualified leads is the next thing that we're looking at, and new customers. So we get that stat from the bottom of the data table here. So 9 qualified leads that I've tagged in the system and 1 new customer. So we can go back to the database and just key those figures in there, 9 and 1. So my lead to customer ratio is currently 11%. So that's how many, what I call qualified leads, people doing business with you. So how many customers you convert over the line. That's to do with sales conversion rate. What's the process involved? So I'm not involved in the sales process personally. Obviously, I've got Bush. If you've met Bush, you would have seen him. Now we've come to the end of the stats here. Apologies, it's taken a few minutes to get this far, but it's just explaining it. Cells U to X are all calculated automatically. And as you can see, there's some top line figures here. 86 is a sum of how many hours in total since you've been with Leadeth that you've saved. V is the financial amount. So for me, that's $6.5 grand's worth of time savings. If I just wouldn't have that many hours left in my month, where would I find 26 hours a month to do all of this? I've spent all those 26 hours with my family, enjoying, my kids and stuff. So, this Leadeth tool has been a real godsend for me, really has. Cost per lead. So obviously, if you're generating qualified leads and you're tagging those leads, you'll have a cost per lead figure here. For me, it's about £40 per lead based off the cost of the Leadeth tool. How much does a client cost you? Well, obviously, it'll be 1 client this month, so it's cost me the full amount. So you can see what a client's costed you. And then you can see the return on investment, and that figure is based on, this data, the cost data, the total number of clients, and the savings you've made on automation. So if you incorporate that figure, that's basically 2,786% return on the investment. So not as good as some previous months where I've had more clients as a result of it. But even if I didn't have 1 client this month, if that was 0 clients, I'm still seeing savings and return on investments just from the automation side of what's going on. So I hope you find this helpful. Obviously, you can see, potential, the revenue, that sales revenue that's been generated from all these deals that you've highlighted. So hopefully you're seeing value in the Leadeth tool, and just welcome you to explore the stats for yourself. You can dive into these stats and key them in for yourself. Hope you found this session useful. I'll also make it available in the school community now. The second stage here is all about projections and what's your target goal revenue, understanding what's the gap, how many customers you need to be onboarding on a yearly basis, on a monthly basis, and a weekly basis to achieve your goals. So it's a reverse engineering stat on that projection of goals. But you don't need to worry about that. The main thing is here on the Leadeth thing. Hope you found that really helpful. And look forward to seeing you on the next client drop-in. Thank you.